Hi there! It's so heavy, oh my god. This is the new Fuji Mirukko grinder that I got about a month ago, and I've finally gotten around to making a video about getting this amazing dream grinder of mine. I've been wanting this for about, over about 6 months or so, and I finally got it. It's the Fuji Royal R-220, also known as the Mirukko. And we're going to be talking about this today. By the way, if you're new to the show, I'm John. I'm an Aussie living here in Nagoya, Japan. I've been here for about 14 years and I make videos about life here and about coffee. So let's get into it and dive into how I ended up getting this beautiful beast of a coffee grinder, why I wanted it in the first place, even though I had an awesome hand grinder, as you guys know, and we'll get into the details. All right, let's go. Wait a second, before I go on, I have to say something. Thank you for supporting my channel. I just hit 1,000 subs the other day, and that's a huge deal. Thank you very much. Point number one, why the hell did I want a new grinder when I had this absolutely beautiful, perfect grinder? This was absolutely amazing, and it still is amazing. This is the Epios grinder, and I got this about over a year ago now, and it's just absolutely beautiful. It's a premium hand grinder with a 10 blade burr, conical burr, and it's got an external click adjustment here for the grind particle size. And it's been fantastic. It grinds through light roast like butter. It's just absolutely amazing. So why did I want a new grinder? I mean, this thing cost a couple of $100, and believe me, it's well worth it. It's a really, really good grinder. By the way, I'll put a link to my little review of this down below if you want to check that out. Some mornings I just feel like I want to just flick a switch. I get lazy, I'm a human, and I really enjoy this thing. It was part of my ritual. I'd get up, put the beans in, do the whole grinding thing, and it's fantastic. You can smell the coffee come up, through the thing here when you open it up. It's just fantastic. But some mornings, or you're either tired or you're too busy, and you get lazy. And sometimes you want to have a couple of coffees, and there's just too much of a rush going on, and you can't sort of, get around to it, or you can't be bothered to make yourself a coffee. And I found out about the Mirukko about, like I said, 6 months or so ago. And that happened because I was looking into grinders on YouTube, and you guys know what a rabbit hole YouTube can be. And I stumbled upon the Mirukko. There were some fantastic reviews. I mean, fantastic. Because this thing, let's quickly, address the elephant in the room, the price. Okay, this is not a cheap grinder. This is about $600, about 60,000 yen, Japanese yen. And I was very surprised. I was shocked when I heard that. I was like, who the hell would spend 60,000 yen on a grinder? And then when I started looking into it, this thing, like I said, was 200. It was about 20,000 yen or 21,000 yen. And I was looking into it, and I listened and watched a lot of reviews, as you do. And, the next best thing, or the competition, I should say, are the Kalita Nice Cut machines. And they're available in your regular electronic stores like Bic Camera or Yodobashi Camera. You can go check them out, and I certainly did. I went there and I touched them, and I had a look at them. And they're about 45,000 yen. They're not cheap, but, and this is just my opinion, I felt that they weren't worth 45,000 yen. They didn't feel the same level of premium as this guy. Like, this guy here is 20,000 yen, but the feel of it is like ultra high grade. It's heavy, it's sturdy, there's no weird kind of play anywhere in the fittings. It's a beautifully made grinder. And the grinders that I saw in store, the Kalita grinders, they felt very plasticky, and honestly, I think I would have felt bad spending 45,000 yen on one of those things. And one of the reviews that I watched actually mentioned that, he sells these machines, and he mentioned that the Kalita machines occasionally do break down because they use geared down motors. And when you use gears to get more power out of your motor, you're basically putting more stress on the motor to get enough rotations or whatever you need to do on the other end, on the output end. So because of that added stress, it apparently results in motors that break down more frequently. This guy here is like an industrial grade machine. And I'm going to show you something here in the manual. And it actually says here, this is something that really blew my mind, because usually in manuals they will say stuff like, this is not a commercial appliance for home use only, right? It probably sounds familiar to you, doesn't it? But this manual is the other way around. And it was the first time I'd ever seen it written this way. It says that this is a commercial product, but it can be used at home because it's nice and compact. And I thought that was such a clever way to word things. And I was just like, okay, I'm kind of like full of confidence now. I've picked the best machine out there. And honestly, it has not let me down. You know, sometimes you get something that's been hyped up online and you buy it and you're like, is that it? This is the opposite. I mean, I had high expectations, and when I got it, it actually exceeded my expectations. The build is so solid, it's heavy. I'll put the weight up here on the screen now for you. I'll look at the spec sheet. It's heavy, it's solid. When you flick the switch and the motor starts, I'll show you guys in a second. It's just incredible. The sound, you can tell from the sound that it's quality. And it just flies through the beans like butter. It does, according to the spec sheet, it does 200 grams of beans in about 33 seconds. And I don't know if you know how fast that is, but that's bloody fast. I mean, we're going to find out. If you want to see how quick it does 15 grams of beans, which is usually what I do in the mornings, I do 15 or 20. You're going to see how it glides through it. It's just like butter. It's like a couple of seconds, but you'll see it for yourself in a second, so hang around. Honestly, no regrets. And I mean, yes, it's a lot of money, but according to all of the reviews that I've seen, this thing just doesn't break down. And the thing is, like, if you're going to use it for life, I mean, 60,000 yen is peanuts for a quality grinder. And I'm going to talk about why this grinder is so expensive, apart from the durability. There are other reasons. The quality of the grind, the consistency, all of that. It's just a beautiful piece of machinery. And another thing that I noticed, if you guys are into things that are fixable, you know, recently these days, whatever we buy, everything just seems to be disposable. When the battery dies, you just have to throw it out. What kind of we're supposed to be in a day and age where we're conscious about the environment and worried about, reducing our carbon footprint. But at the same time, everything that we buy is just disposable. Your phones, your earphones, your headphones, computers, everything is just built in a way so that you just throw it away when the battery dies. So this guy here is actually fully serviceable. Even things like the little parts, like the hopper, the part up the top, the plastic part that holds the beans. Say you accidentally drop it when you're cleaning the machine and it cracks. You don't have to buy a new machine. You can actually contact the company and you can buy just that part. They have a full service department. If anything goes wrong, you can contact them. They can service the motor. They can replace the burrs if you need to. We're going to talk about all of that, by the way. The burrs, that's actually one of the unique points of this grinder. But everything can be serviced and replaced. It's an incredibly well-built machine, and it's something that I know I'll be treasuring for the next many years. All right, moving right along, let's go into the history of this machine a little bit. So what is this company, Fuji Royal? Well, I did a bit of research and I found out that originally the company was known as something like Fuji something or other, not Fuji Royal. And that started in 1929. And the name Fuji Royal actually came about in 1955, and they basically specialize in making coffee machines. We're talking coffee roasting machines, coffee grinders, that sort of thing. That's their specialty. And the Mirukko is actually the younger brother of something called the R-440. So this is the R-220, that's the technical name of it. It's commonly referred to as the Mirukko, but it's the R-220, half the number of the R-440. Now the R-440 was initially, let me just check my notes here, it came out in 1965. So it's been around for a very long time. And the Mirukko, this version here, it came out in 1989. And so, as you can see, it's been around for a while. Now, what is Mirukko? How did that come about? Well, in Japanese, by adding ko at the end of something, you kind of create this affectionate, cute kind of a vibe to things. And by saying Mirukko, you're basically saying like the little mini-me version of the miru. Miru is Japanese for mill, if you write it in katakana like this. And so Mirukko is like the little younger brother of the main mill that the company was making. That's like their longest selling mill, apparently, according to the stuff that I found online about it. You know, been selling since 1965. And if you look it up online on the website, I'll put their link down below, by the way, you'll see that they still sell the R440 along with, you know, a lot of other grinders as well. It's a very, very popular company for places that roast coffee and also grind coffee. But anyway, that's kind of the background to the company. All right, so it's metal all around, I mentioned that. The spout here is actually a magnet. I'm going to show this stuff on the screen. Hopefully I get everything together in time for the video. But yes, the spout here is a magnet, and that's because this part over here on the lid has a magnet inside, and it sort of makes things come together really easily. So if you just slide it in, it kind of locks into place, and it makes sure that you don't get all this stuff flying all over the place, you know. By the way, stuff flying all over the place, this is something that came up on the reviews that I watched, and I'm surprised that most of the people who brought this up didn't know about the simple fact that you can spray your beans before grinding them to eliminate static, because this machine is notorious for generating a lot of static because it's a very fast grinder, and when you've got a lot of speed with that kind of thing, it's gonna generate a lot of static. And what happens is, if you don't control that static, once you open up the container that is holding the coffee kind of just flies everywhere because of the static. It just makes it like, you know, fly around all over the room and it goes all over the table. And then when you try to pour the coffee grounds out of that container into your coffee dripper, while you're trying to pour the coffee out, it'll actually start flying everywhere. It's a mess. But if you just do a quick little spray, and I've shown this to you guys before on my channel, you get a little sprayer like this from Daiso, like a 100 yen shop, fill it up with water and just give it a one little squirt, and that's enough. All you need to do is give it a little mist, and that's enough to completely eliminate the static. Some of the people online, they're doing some crazy stuff. They've got like wires, earth wires, you know, ground wires running to the machine to try and eliminate the static. And I've seen some really crazy stuff out there online, and I was like, I really hope I don't have to do that when I, you know, spend 600 bucks on this machine, because it's ridiculous. And I got it, and I tried the water thing, and it works. And I'm like, I wish everyone just knew about that, because they're kind of, you know, damaging the machine or attaching wires and things. I don't know if that's safe, you know. I mean, I guess if you know what you're doing, it's okay. But anyway, I'm glad that the water trick worked and it solved that problem. What's next? Let me just have a quick look at my notes again, forgive me. Ah, yes. So there's a couple of different models when it comes to this machine, and the only difference is the burr. So the burr is the part that cuts or grinds the beans, and it comes in two varieties. The original variety, according to my research, is the one that I got, and that's called a grinding burr, and the other variety is called a cutting burr. And the difference is that with this is going to get a bit nerdy or geeky or technical, so forgive me in advance, but I'll try to keep it short. With pour over coffee, which is the type that I usually make, you tend to grind a little bit coarser. When you're making espresso, it's actually quite fine. It needs to be like a powder. And when you're grinding coarse for pour over coffee, what happens even with this guy over here, you get something called fines. And they're the little small particles, powdery particles that you end up with as a result of, you know, crushing and grinding. It's kind of inevitable. You can't help that. But with this grinder, with what's called in English they call it a ghost burr apparently, according to the stuff that I saw online about it. With the ghost burr, you actually get a really, really consistent particle size, and they call it this, what's the technical word? A particle distribution, particle size distribution. And so you end up with most of your particles at the same size, at the desired size. Whereas with cheaper grinders, you end up with very inconsistent particle sizes and the distribution is all over the place. So you end up with a lot of fine particles and a lot of really big particles and a bunch of particles in the middle, which is that's what you're aiming for. And that results in a few problems, because when you're doing a pour over coffee, you need to extract stuff at the same rate. It needs to be consistent. So you don't want to over extract and you don't want to under extract, okay? And you adjust that by changing the amount of time that you spend on the brew and the particle size, you know, all of that kind of stuff. And if you've got a bunch of different sizes of particles in there, if you pour too much, or sorry, let me rephrase it, if you spend too much time in your pour, you're going to over extract from the fine particles, and you might extract the right amount from the larger particles, and vice versa. So if you extract for the smaller particles, you're going to under extract from the larger particles. And so you end up never being able to extract the amount that you want to extract, okay? You always have to settle for like an in-between, or it's never consistent. And this grinder here was actually pretty good with that. Like, I mean, it's not bad at all. But if you grind, the coarser you grind, this is the problem. The coarser you grind, the more difficult it becomes to maintain that consistency of the particle size. When you're grinding really fine, the particles only have this tiny little thing to go through and they all get crushed basically at the same size. And it's really hard for large particles to make it through a very small gap where the blades are spinning. So you end up with most of them being ground finely, which is great if you're doing espresso. But when you're doing pour over, especially darker roasts, you're going to be grinding a bit coarser. Even with medium roasts, you know, you're not going to be grinding like an espresso. So that's why it comes in two types. So the type I got is optimized for coarser, medium to coarse grinds. You can grind pretty fine, but to be honest, I would never be grinding on the lowest setting on this thing. It's just, you know, you don't need anything that fine for a pour over. It goes from 1 to 10. For the really light roast stuff like Yirgachev light roast, I went on 3.5 last week, and it was even a bit too much. So, you know, normally for the medium roasts, I'm using about 6. I experimented with 8 and it wasn't too bad. If you extend your bloom time, it's actually pretty good. But 6, 7, around there somewhere is probably good for most coffees, even light roasts, you know. So, because you can adjust your bloom time and your overall brewing time, and it ends up being okay either way. But if you're going to be buying this thing for espresso, you're going to have to get the cut version, not the grinding burr. You're going to get the cut burr. And as far as I can tell, I think the price doesn't differ too much. It may have been different by a couple of thousand yen, but generally speaking, it's about the same price, okay? Anyway, that's something very important you have to keep in mind. I know I said I'd be keeping it short, and I'm sorry, I apologize. It's still kind of dragged on, but that's the reality of coffee. It gets a bit complicated sometimes. Anyway, I think it's time to show you how quickly it can grind through 15 grams of beans. Let's take a look. Alright, so first things first, we're going to get the water boiling. So I'm going to put that on 90 degrees and on the keep function. And what are we going to do today? We're going to use, let me see, let's get the scale going. And okay, let's use this stuff over here. This is Sawai coffee. Alright, so we've got 15 grams of beans here. And we're going to give it a squirt of water. And like I said, that'll eliminate the static. And in go the beans. I'm going to have to give you a bit of a close-up here. So you've got this little thing here, and that opens up the opening for, you know, the beans to go down. But let's first adjust the grind size. So I'm going to go for, say, 6.5. This is a bit of a darkish bean, so I'm going to go 6.5, bit on the coarser side, and turn it on. You can hear the quality of the... Can you hear that? It's got such a beautiful purr. Now you open up the little thing over here. And that's it, it's done. It literally took like a few seconds. And it comes out over here. I'm going to give you a close-up of this coffee so you can see how amazing the particle size is. It's just so clean and it's just beautiful. Alright, so I like to wet my filter here like this first with hot water. This kind of heats up the dripper as well. Don't forget to throw that water away. Now, in goes the coffee. I'm going to do a little trick that Lance Hedrick showed me the other day, is you use a chopstick like this and you kind of make a divot by swirling around from the outside, working your way in, and like that. Okay, I'm going to use my handy little timer here, and I'm going to try this new ratio that I've been testing out. All right, and we're going to pour. I'm going to go for 30 seconds on the bloom, and we're going to do a total of 200 grams for this 15 grams of coffee. We've got another 8 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Next round. Give that a bit of a swirl. And we'll wait till 3 on this. I'm doing every 30 seconds. I'm just going to split it into, I've got 100 grams left, so I'm just going to do 50 and 50. Okay. Go to 150. 3, 2, 1, and last round, up to 200. And we started at 4 minutes, so this is almost exactly a 2-minute brew time. And it's almost done. Alrighty, that's it, we're done. Alrighty, it's all ready to go, and it's time to pour this into our beautiful Ohazassu mug. By the way, if you want to get your own Ohazassu mug, links are down below. You can support the channel by getting one as well while you're at it. And it's time to test out this Sawai blend. Smells alright. Ah, beautiful, very clean cup. That's actually one thing I noticed the first time I did a coffee with this grinder, was how clean the cup actually tasted. It's, I don't know, like when you do it with something that's got more fines in it, it tastes a little bit dirty. There's a lack of purity in the taste. And when you've got a nice grinder and you're getting a nice even distribution of particle sizes, that's completely different. Absolutely beautiful. Anyway, that's it for the coffee demonstration and about the grinder. I hope you found this video useful, and if you're considering a Mirukko grinder and you have any questions, feel free to shoot them through to me down below in the comments. Okay, that brings me to the end of the episode, and if you've hung around this long and if you're new to the show, there's a little bonus present here for you. I do something called Word of the Day at the end of almost every video I make. And if you're a regular here, you'll know that I do this all the time. And thanks for sticking around till the end. Okay, so today's word of the day, of course, is related to coffee and grinding. And the word is hikitate. Hiku means to grind. That's the verb for to grind. And tate is actually a really useful suffix that you can use for a lot of things. Agetate is like freshly fried, for example. So we might cover those in a future episode, but just so you know, tate, when you add it to the end of a verb stem, it just means that it's been freshly done or it's just been done. So hiku is the verb for to grind, and when you connect it with something like tate, you change the ku to a ki, so hikitate. Hikitate, it means freshly ground or just being ground. Anyway, thanks very much for joining me in this video as well, and thank you once again for helping me to reach 1,000 subscribers in such a short amount of time. Really appreciate your support. Okay, that's it from me for today. I'll catch you at the next video. Take it easy. Bye for now.